My name's Alex, and I'm 28 years old. If you'd asked me a month ago, I would have told you that my family was, at worst, mildly dysfunctional. You know, the usual passive-aggressive comments at Thanksgiving, my mom playing favorites with my younger sister Emily, and my dad being blissfully unaware of literally everything. Annoying? Sure. Unbearable? Not really. But then Emily's wedding happened. And I realized something. My family doesn't just have favorites, they have a main character. And spoiler alert, it's not me. A little background. Emily's 25, and to say she's been treated like royalty her entire life would be an understatement. I mean, this is the girl who threw a tantrum at 16 because my parents got me a used car, and she wanted a brand new one when she turned 16 too. Guess what? She got it. She's the golden child. The princess. The one who can do no wrong, even when she's very, very wrong. Me? I was the older sibling, the one who had to set a good example, which basically meant doing everything right but getting none of the praise. If I got a B on a test, my mom would shake her head and say, "Alex, you're capable of more." Meanwhile, if Emily passed with a C, time to break out the balloons and cake. Anyway, I knew going into Emily's wedding that I wasn't going to be the star of the show. Obviously, it was her day. I was happy to just be a supportive sibling, smile for the pictures, and get through the day without any unnecessary drama. But what I didn't expect, what I couldn't have expected, was how far they would go to make sure I knew exactly where I stood in this family. The warning signs were there early on. First, I found out I wasn't in the wedding party. Fine, whatever. Not everyone includes their siblings as bridesmaids or groomsmen. Then, I found out that Emily's childhood best friend, her coworker, and her fiancé's cousin's girlfriend were all in the wedding party. All right, that stung a little, but hey, maybe she just wanted to keep things fresh. Then came the seating chart. Now, I didn't expect to be at the head table, obviously. That's for the couple and their wedding party. But I figured I'd at least be seated with our family. You know, the people I've shared DNA and holidays with my entire life. Nope. When I arrived at the venue and picked up my place card, I noticed something weird. My name wasn't with my parents, my aunts, or my cousins. No, my card wasn't even on the seating chart at all. I had to ask someone where I was supposed to sit. A wedding planner checked the list and then gave me the tightest, most awkward smile I've ever seen. "Oh, Alex, you're right here," she pointed. I looked, and that's when I saw it. My seat wasn't in the grand ballroom where the chandeliers sparkled and the elegantly decorated tables filled the space. No, it was outside the ballroom, as in the hallway, near the coat rack. At first, I actually laughed. I thought there had to be some mistake, like maybe they ran out of chairs and needed to move some things around. But no, that was my designated seat, a lonely little table near the entrance. Just me and the faint smell of mothballs from people's winter coats. I turned to the wedding planner, still grinning like a fool because my brain refused to process what was happening. "You're kidding, right?" She looked so uncomfortable. "I'm really sorry, but this is where you've been assigned." Assigned. Like a prisoner getting their cell block number. I wasn't even mad yet. I was too busy being confused. Was this some kind of prank? Some bizarre wedding tradition I'd never heard of? I needed answers, and I knew exactly who to ask. I found Emily near the bridal suite, basking in the glow of being the bride, surrounded by her friends and our mom, who was busy fawning over her dress. She saw me coming and gave me the fakest smile in the world. "Oh, hey, you made it." I held up my place card. "Yeah, quick question. Why is my seat not in the reception hall?" She blinked, then giggled. Actually giggled. "Oh, that? Yeah. We had to move a few things around last minute." "Uh-huh. And I just so happened to be the one who got moved to the hallway." Emily shrugged like it was no big deal. "I mean, yeah, we had to prioritize close family at the main tables." I blinked. "I am close family." That's when my mom, who had been pretending not to listen, chimed in with a sugary sweet voice. "Now, Alex, don't make a scene. It's Emily's special day." "I'm not making a scene. I'm asking why I'm literally sitting with the coats." And then, oh then, Emily dropped the line that officially made this the worst wedding I've ever attended. "Well, you kind of aren't really immediate family anymore." I stared at her, trying to decipher what that even meant. "Excuse me?" She shrugged again, adjusting her veil like this conversation was boring her. "You moved out years ago." You don't come around that often, and like you're not married or anything. It's just different now. I don't even know how to describe the feeling that settled in my chest at that moment. It wasn't just anger. It was something heavier, something colder. I wasn't immediate family anymore because I had the audacity to grow up and live my own life. Because I wasn't married by the time they expected me to be. Before I could say anything, another voice cut in. That's when I saw her, Emily's mother-in-law. I hadn't interacted with her much before that day, but the second she walked up, I knew exactly what kind of person she was. The type who thrived on drama, fed on it, and lived to stir the pot. She glanced at me, smirking. Oh, you're Alex. I was wondering who that seat belonged to. I forced a tight smile. Yep, that's me. The sibling who apparently doesn't count. Emily's mother-in-law chuckled and gave me a once-over, her expression full of mocking sympathy. Well, you know how weddings are. Only the most important people get the best spots. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just Emily's doing. Her new mother-in-law was enjoying this. And suddenly, everything made sense. This wasn't a seating mistake. It wasn't bad planning. It was intentional. The moment I realized that, something inside me shifted. I wasn't going to sit through this wedding quietly, and I definitely wasn't going to leave without making a statement. I took a slow, deep breath, my fingers tightening around the place cards still in my hand. All right, I muttered to myself. If this is how they want to play it, fine, but they forgot one thing. I grew up with Emily. I knew her secrets. I knew all the little things she said behind people's backs, and most importantly, I knew that she hated her new mother-in-law. Oh, she'd smiled in her face, acted all sweet, but behind closed doors. It was another story. And right now, I had an audience. I turned to Emily's mother-in-law, plastering on my best fake sympathetic expression. You know, it's funny. Just the other day, Emily was so worried about seating arrangements. Emily, who had been looking at her nails like she was bored, suddenly stiffened. Oh? Emily's mother-in-law raised an eyebrow. I nodded, keeping my voice casual. Yeah, she was stressed. Kept saying she really didn't want certain people sitting too close to the head table. I let the words linger, then leaned in slightly, like I was letting her in on a juicy little secret. Something about not wanting her wedding photos ruined by, what was it again, Emily? I turned to her, tilting my head. Oh, right. By someone's tacky dress. A hush fell over the little group. Emily's mother-in-law's smirk disappeared in an instant. Excuse me? Emily's face drained of color, but I wasn't done. Oh, and remember how you were so worried about speeches? You were really stressed about what certain people would say. I believe your exact words were, if she gives a speech, I swear to God I'll lose my mind. She's so embarrassing, she'll probably try to make the whole thing about herself. Emily's expression darkened. Emily made a strangled noise, reaching for my arm. Can I talk to you for a second? I pulled away, pretending to be confused. Why? I thought we were having a family conversation. Since I'm not immediate family, I figured I'd at least try to get involved somehow. I turned to Emily, her eyes narrowing. Is that true? Emily let out a nervous laugh, shaking her head. No, of course not. Alex is just... Oh, and don't forget the bachelorette party. I gasped, smacking my forehead. Silly me, how could I not mention that? I turned back to Emily's mother-in-law. You know, the one where Emily spent half the night complaining about you. Said she was counting down the days until she didn't have to fake nice anymore. What said she was only tolerating you because she didn't want to start her marriage off with drama. That was it. The kill shot. Emily's mouth fell open. My mother, who had been standing awkwardly to the side, looked horrified. My dad, who had been completely clueless up until now, actually took a step back like he wanted to pretend he wasn't part of this. Emily's friends, the bridesmaids, started whispering among themselves, sending each other wide-eyed glances. Emily, meanwhile, looked like she was about to burst into flames. Her lips were moving, but no sound was coming out. And then Emily's mother-in-law turned on her. You ungrateful little brat. I had to bite my tongue to keep from smiling because, oh, this was about to get good. You think you can just use me? Her voice was sharp, angry. After everything I've done for you, the money I put into this wedding, the favors I pulled. She gestured wildly toward the ballroom, her perfectly manicured nails flashing under the chandelier lights. And this whole time you've been running your mouth behind my back? Emily stammered. I didn't. Emily's mother-in-law turned to my parents. You knew about this? You raised her to be this kind of snake? My mother looked like she was going to faint. Of course not. Emily would never. Oh, don't even try. I cut in, shaking my head. You absolutely knew. You just didn't care.